Hacksaw. 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour. 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we are back for another episode of the Hacksaw Hour. And of course, I could never do it without the man himself, King Hacksaw. The king is here, folks. How's it going, Jim?
Good afternoon, Marcus. How are you?
Very regal response. I'm doing
well.
Jim.
You know, when you have the crown on, you want to act like you should. You know, you want to act like a king. But you know, Marcus, I would just like you to ask me one question, buddy.
Oh, sure. And
that is, what's my favorite color?
Jim, what is your favorite color?
It's yellow. You know, I gotta get a hole in there somehow or another.
That's right, man.
I gotta come in. It's hard, brother. You know, you gotta thinking, how can I get a hole in this thing? You know, without Deborah getting hot at me. You know, back in the old days, we had holes going this way, holes going that way. You know, now I'm thinking I'd like to start the show off with a good hole. Oh,
oof!
It ain't a problem at this stage. Yeah, we were out having dinner the other night, and the guy came up to Deborah. He goes, "Aren't you worried about Jim being around all these young, beautiful divas?" Deborah's like, "Nah."
Hey,
I'm like, "Thanks, you can't be a little worried, sweetheart." You know, they all call me sir and hold the door for me. Are you kidding? Hi, I'm Jim.
Yeah. You're Jim Duggan, WWE Hall of Famer. Those ladies should be all over you, man.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding, man? It's the last thing I need to. Yeah, but if they see Jake coming, they lean this way. That's for sure. If you ever see any pictures, we got somebody in between us. Jake standing here, they're leaning like this. And no, it's not his breath.
It is not Jake's breath. Oh,
I haven't talked to Jake in a while, man. I'm looking forward to doing that cruise. We got that cruise coming up pretty soon on the Serenade of the Sea.
That's right, the Serenade of the Sea. That is coming up on February 23rd. And you can go to cast.tours. That's it. That's the website, cast.tours. There's no .com. That's
Tell them Hacksaw sent you. And we're going to do the shore excursions. We're going to go around on shore with the folks, have dinner with the people. Of course, everything, you know, just be with the folks. You know, Jake's still going to do a stand-up. I'll probably jump in there and help him out, bail him out, you know. But, it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Deborah's coming in a great way to actually spend some time. And Luke the Bushwhacker's going to be there.
3 Hall of Famers, man.
I known Luke from way back in the Wild Man Duggan days with the fur and the chains and everything. Yeah, I've known Luke for a long time, but should be a lot of fun.
That is one that you guys do not want to miss. Again, it's cast.tours, and they set sail on February 23rd, 2025. And as Jim said, tell them Hacksaw sent you, and you can save like $400, $500, something like that. Something incredible.
Yeah, it's a good savings, man. Yeah, it's a good savings. That's for sure, man. And you know what ship we are on, brother?
What is that?
It's the Serenade of the Sea.
So there's going to be singing on this boat.
I tell you, well, you know, I my first time I did a commercial for it with the cruise line people. I'm like, couldn't think of it, and my daughter's like, Celia's like, Dad, Serenade. So now it's stuck in my head forever, man. I was trying to get everything down. I couldn't. Serenade of the Sea. Yeah. So now it's the. Give it to me, brother.
Serenade. See, I can do that shit.
Obviously, you got to get the whole deal, brother. Come on.
I just did.
If you're going to be a wrestler, kid, be a wrestler.
Well, do not miss that. And also, this weekend, as we're recording, so this episode is going to come out on Thursday, and then this weekend is going to be Friday, February 20th. So not the weekend, technically. Jim is going to be up in Polar Park, Massachusetts for Big Time Wrestling.
Big Time. I've done a lot of work with Big Time over the years. Steve, the guy that runs the show, does a great job. My good friend Marty is up there. I'm going to go up and we spend the night with Marty at his mansion, and I'm going to bring Papa Shango over to meet him. And so it's going to be a great weekend. And like I said, I work a lot for Steve. Sting's going to be there. And I guess Sting's going to be dressed up. There's a difference if you get Sting dressed up or Sting not dressed up. So you got a dressed up Sting, So I get along with Stinger. We used to play cards back in the day, so it'd be good to see him. Nowadays, it's like, hey, great to see you. Of course, Sting's a little bit younger. He's, Jake and Teddy, they always come over. I check their pulse.
See, now they're hanging in there. That's right. Sting is going to be there, and to Jim's point, he's going to be wearing face paint, so it's kind of like a rare photo op with Sting.
That's a rare photo op, yeah.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan is there. That's the real reason to show up. Again, it's big time wrestling in Polar Park on September 20th. Man, I'm looking at it right now. Lots of stars: Tommy Dreamer, Matt Riddle, Elias. So The Godfather, like so many big time.
He puts on a great show, a big, huge show. There'll be a lot of people there. It'll be a fun night out. Something for everybody. You'll have some of the kids that are working their way up to get to the big time. There's going to be some guys that just got done at the big time and got recently released. And then you got the old timers. It's like a triple deck sandwich. Something for everybody, man. So it's a great show, family friendly. And I tell folks who've never been to a wrestling show, come on out. It's a lot of fun. I say you come out, you cheer the good guy, you boo the bad guy, or you go sit in a movie for 3 hours.
That's right.
I had a good
make
time.
Any noise. Those are your options. Fun for the whole family.
Night, yeah.
Again, as this episode releases on Thursday the 19th, it's tomorrow the 20th. So if you're in the area, get out there and go enjoy it. And Jim, today you and I are going to enjoy answering some fan questions. It's another Hacksaw Mailbag, one of my personal favorites because I love how we just move in any and all directions. The King is here to take the question.
He'll be making a few appearances. He'll be on and off, Hello, it's me, the King, and hi, I'm Jim. Nice to meet you.
I guess it depends on what question. Right?
That's spelled G-E-M.
G-Y-M.
G-Y-M back in the day. 1, 2. I used to go back. I tell you, back in the day, everybody had those rubber bands, the big bands, and they'd be in there. All the muscle heads would be pulling the bands and stuff. I come in and I give them this deal. Oh.
Now I got
to get that thumb working. I should have insured it with Lloyd's of London. The thumb, that would have been a good gimmick. That would have been a good gimmick, and then the guy could always be like breaking my thumb. But that's why I'm not in Sanford. Great idea, Duggan. Tell your story walking, buddy.
You could have worked that thing too. You could have had somebody break the thumb for real, and then you get a payoff from Lloyd's of London.
Brother, holy it's pro wrestling. It's not like nowadays the kids, their nose over here, they're all red and black. And I'm like, boys, it's a work. You're not going to convince anybody it's real no matter what the hell you do out there. But that's a different business. Back in the old days, it was like, brother, loosen up out there, man. Or you're like, hey, bend over and get something. Go for a backdrop.
That would slow somebody down in an area, that's for sure.
Well, you always go for a back. I tell you a quick Steve Kern story, man. Remember Steve Kern?
Love Steve Kern.
The what the hell they call him?
One of the Fantastics.
Used to chew the black licorice and everything.
Mm.
Anyway, the Skinner, when I first broke in on Big Jim Duggan, who say he was before he was Skinner, he was like a Hollywood blonde guy. He says, I'll do anything but a backdrop. And I'm like, yeah, cool, brother. And I'm green as grass. I get out there, I do my 1-2 moves. I go blank, I forget, I throw them in. Like, whole backdrop. I went down for the backdrop. Shit! He kicked my head off. Holy Christ. 35 years later, I see Steve Kern. Brother, remember that backdrop? I'll never call another backdrop with you, man. You got the point across.
Now, like at this time, you're young and green, but you're also fresh out of college football, wrestling. Like you're a big tough man. When another grown man kicks you like that, are you like coming up mad, or are you like, okay, I screwed up?
No, I knew I was screwing up. Yeah. Okay. Manny Fernandez, I knew guys that took it. Looking back at it, people that took advantage of me. Angelo Mosca up in the old WWF. I think he took advantage of me. I know he took advantage of me in the ring. stretched my ass with me not realizing it. Manny Fernandez, when I was green, I took some liberties. But
what kind of stuff was Manny doing?
He was just real snug on me, more snug than he needed to be.
Oh,
and I just thought he was being snug. And looking back at it, he gave me an arm drag. It hurt my shoulder pretty bad. He drove me into the mat. Little things, man. But looking back at it as an old timer, I'm like, yeah, he did that on purpose. Look, when I had that trouble with Matt Bourne, he came boom, hey, boom. I think you're doing that on purpose.
It is weird when you're new to the business because you'll step into the ring with a veteran and you're kind of just trusting them. Like, okay, well, this guy wants to have a good match.
But I can understand, looking at guys like we said before, Jose Estrada and Johnny Rods. I almost apologized to him, man, because I didn't know what I was doing and I was so snug with them. But it's a fine line. You want to make it look real, but that's the old thing. Hacksaw, I saw you throw a punch. You missed the guy by this much. I said, yeah, but you see, when I hit him by that much, it goes both ways.
Man, it's as I'm starting to acclimate myself to the wrestling ring. It's you kind of discover something new every time you get in there. One thing I discovered was not to let somebody who's as green as I am give me a leg drop. Because Jim, if you were to guess at what happened to me whenever I allowed somebody to give me a leg drop, what would you guess?
Well, they landed on you, brother.
With their entire ass on my
head. Yeah, shit, man. There's a reason it's the indies. You try to stay basic, but I was working with Mabel. Remember Mabel?
Yes.
Big Mabel, great big giant guy. And I was working with him on a big indie somewhere, and I had just got done with my kidney cancer. And they had to finish. They said he wanted to do the big splash on me. And I'm like, we don't need that. We can do something else besides the big splash. I'll sell it like the big splash.
Mm-hmm.
But he don't have to give me the big splash. And Mabel came over to me, said, hey, he's very respectful. And I'll promise you I'll take care of you. Don't worry. So boom, he came laying there. Boom, he hit the rope. He like eclipses his son, Big Mabel, up in the air. Boom, boom, here he comes, crashes on me. I tapped him on the side. I said, "Give me another, brother." he took good care of me. He got up and he gave me the second one, man. So it's a fine line, but you want to work with somebody you trust. Like DiBiase, I tell that story all the time. DiBiase and I weren't supposed to get juice. I hit him in the nose that night. It was like I cut his throat. Blood is just pouring out his nose. He's like, Duggan! And I'm like, Unlike Matt Bourne or somebody like that, Buzz Sawyer, that would escalate.
Because you didn't know if they were doing it to be assholes or if they slipped or what, right?
Right, yeah. You were really on your toes with them. Yeah, that's why it's always good to work with somebody and you trust. Because, if it's your buddy drops you on your head, you're like, on the ride home, you're like, brother, what the fuck you doing out there? Don't do that. And, of course, now, the old deal, if you get a potato, you give a receipt.
That's right. That's right. See, I held off on the receipt when the guy dropped his ass on my head because I was like, I know he's just green and he didn't do it on purpose. But I suppose if it was like a ring veteran, I kind of have to do it because you have to establish yourself, right?
Well, not a blatant punch in the nose, but when you give him an uppercut or a clothesline or something, you lay it in too.
Okay. Just to let him know.
Yeah, nothing blatant where you're like, you son of a bitch. You throw him in, go clothesline, and lay that in. And then gets the point across.
Okay.
If it's somebody you've never worked with.
See, that's good advice, Jim, because in my head, I was like, okay, I'll just bring it a little bit harder whenever I punch next time. But that's not it.
Well, I've been, who knows now, the way it goes nowadays, it's a whole different deal. Years ago, even back when the Undertaker was having wrestlers' court, all the old timers are like, wrestlers' court. No, wrestlers' court. Is it held in the shower? That was wrestler's court back in the day, man. Let's go into the shower.
Were you ever
But
present
that's why
for
you had, or who
Undertaker's?
I just read was this. I think was it Medusa or Dark Journey or somebody just put out the story about Sting and Dick Slater in the shop. Yeah, in the bathroom. Yeah.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was not in that dressing room, but I was in that building. It was Baton Rouge Centralplex. Yeah, I was in the other dressing room.
Did you see the after effects of it? Like Sting?
Well, you everybody did, brother. It's not like TV where you see these big fist fight and the guy shows up like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah. Rumor has it.
Even Slater was selling, brother. He was selling big time.
Really?
He's like, "Oh, my hands are so swollen up. My hands are Jesus."
You got
People
me on
don't
that,
realize that's an after effect. I beat the guy's ass. Well, your hands, you can't open doors. Your hands swell up if you get into a real fight.
Rumor has it that the Ultimate
Hopefully
Warrior
not your head too much. Better your hands than your head.
Yeah, probably the other guy's head.
Yeah, hopefully.
Rumor has it that the Ultimate Warrior was present for that, but he was unable to help out his buddy Sting in the moment.
Well, I don't think, as long as somebody's not putting the boots to somebody, I don't think you let them fight. You know.
Oh, okay.
They're too grown. They're two grown men. If they've come this far to where they're going to fight, go ahead. Unless that's the guy that usually gets the worst of it. Break it up.
So that's just smart business. Stay out of it. Stay away from it.
Stay out of it, brother. Holy shit. Let it and then it's over too, you know. That's why when Watts almost forced Berserker and Butch Reed to fight, but that blew off all the steam. But they didn't need to fight. That was ridiculous. But also, after you have a fight like that, neither one comes off clean. Neither one wants to fight again. So, but
right.
I think if Warrior had jumped in, then other guys would have jumped on Warrior's ass.
Now, before we get into these fan questions, we're getting there, folks. You mentioned Undertaker's Wrestler's Court, and I know that you were there in like the 2000s, like mid 2000s. Were you ever present for Undertaker's
never did one of the court deals. I just heard about them. Never participated in one. That's interesting, but it's great. I mean, if you're going to have a guy preside over a dressing room full of wrestlers, that'd be the man, Undertaker. He's a straight shooter.
Well, rumor has it that those things were gimmicked, and if you brought the Undertaker a fifth of Jack Daniels, he would maybe, lean toward your.
I don't think it was
defense.
a fifth of Jack Daniels. It was just an ounce. Oh, never.
Some sort of a party favor.
I don't know what the hell, right? No, I don't know. I was never there, but it seemed an odd way to do things, but it seemed to work, I guess, for him. And I think that nowadays, even the kids are much more professional. You know, our generation, you know, we had Bob Sweetan. We had some really deviant people. Buck Robley. Buck was a friend of mine, but he was a sick puppy, I'll tell you. But I think nowadays the kids, because, you know, the business is more than high school gyms, National Guard armies. It's a worldwide industry. So, yeah, you got to be more professional to perform at that level.
I think nowadays, unless you're like a super top guy, you'll get fired if you get into a fight backstage. So it's a whole other world now. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, human resources and all that stuff. Yeah, and that was changing with WC. That was Scott Hall's deal. He's like, "What are they going to do? Beat me up?" I know. Jerry Sag's probably knock your tooth out, though.
You're not untouchable.
That's when it started to change. Yeah. Yeah. And Knobs, there was a poor guy that was running TV, and he looked a little like Montel Williams. And Knobs would always come in and go, "Hey, Montel, how you doing? Hey, Montel, how you doing?" And the guy ended up going to Human Resources and suing Turner Broadcasting and get a big payoff, you know. But
holy shit.
I don't know where that came from. That's a story out of nowhere. Holy smokes.
That's what I love about the show. We never know.
That's like one of those DiBiase stories comes out of nowhere.
That's one of my
What are we
favorite
talking
parts of the
about?
show. Oh gosh, what are we doing today? It's Hacksaw
Mailbag,
Mailbag.
brother.
And the first question we've got is from Jamie Haynes, who asks, this is a fun one. Any Ernie Ladd stories? Can you tell us anything about the big cat?
Yeah, I was a big fan of Ernie Ladd, a huge fan of Ernie Ladd before I really met the guy. I was kind of disappointed when I met him.
Really?
I mean, I was a football mark growing up. I mean, football consumed my life. Pro wrestling was not even in the picture. Even though I won the states, shot put, all that other stuff, college football was my main focus. And Ernie Ladd, the big cat Ernie Ladd, was a stud, tough, mean football player. So when I bounced around, I ended up coming into Mid-South, and people like Ernie Ladd's in Mid-South. I'm like, holy shit, man, I can't wait to meet Ernie Ladd. I met him. He's imposing, huge, imposing man. And we're all sitting in the dressing room, and Bill Watts came in. He's like, Ernie, you dumb son of a bitch. I don't know what the hell you think you're doing. You're such a dumb bitch. I'm like, well, boy, Ernie Ladd's going to pull this guy's head off. Here we go. And it was a different guy. I don't know. He wasn't the wild, mean Maine cat, but he was he always would call Bundy, King Kong Bundy. He called Bundy, just come sit underneath the learning tree, Bundy. Come sit underneath the learning tree. Yeah. But Ernie was the one that broke up the fight in Baton Rouge between me and Matt Bourne, the first scuffle we had in the hallway. Okay. He broke it up. Yeah, Matt tried to leg dive me. I'm an amateur. Don't leg dive. I push him out, put the boots to him. Like I said, this is fun. Then I went in the dressing room with DiBiase. Of course, I'm 280 back then, a little jacked up, And then Matt comes in. He goes, it ain't over, Duggan.
Big mistake, Matt.
I guess that means it's on. Here's Johnny.
Now, how long would you say that second ass kicking took? Like just seconds? Like you just put him down, or how did that?
Yeah, I got it pretty quick. Matt, 200 maybe 220. I was 270, 280, benching 500. Amateur background, and I was mad. Yeah, no, that wasn't. There's some guy, Terry Gordy, Steve Williams. I don't know, Taku. There are a lot of tough men. You have Buzz Sawyer, tough guy. Mm-hmm. I'll put Buzz over. I don't like the guy, but I wasn't worried. That's why he tried to take advantage of me in White Plains, New York. When I'm wrestling, I'm like this, and he's going to knock my head off. Because he knew he couldn't take me up, even though I'm an old timer at that point. He wanted to hurt me. He remembered all those years later. I wrestled him hundreds of times. The guy kept it in his head. And when I'm working with him, he tried to take advantage of me. But, you know what Matt would be doing if he was alive today, right?
What's that?
Get me out! Anyway, I don't know how we went from Ernie Ladd to Matt Bourne stories, but Ernie broke up the fight. But I liked Ernie though. I got along with Ernie okay, but I was very surprised the way Bill Watts treated Ernie Ladd.
And
I was surprised. I wouldn't let Bill Watts talk to me that way. No, then I wasn't an established guy. I couldn't beat him up. I would definitely leave the territory or do a Rougeau deal and ambush him.
And Bill always seemed like one of those guys, like a bully, where like if he gives you a hard time and you give it back, he'll back away and leave you alone. Did he ever try to test the waters with you?
Yeah, that's why guys, Junkyard Dog, Dr. Death, Steely Williams, Terry Gordy, myself, ex-jocks, guys that legit tough guys. He liked that. He liked that in the territory. That's why guys like Sting and Warrior, though they were exceptional talents, they didn't really kind of fit the mold of Mid-South. Of course, Mid-South was still before sports entertainment. That's when you think it's fake? Well, come on up here. You don't want the Warrior going, okay, let me show you how it's done. Some of those boys down from Thibodaux, Louisiana, have his scalp hanging up on there. I got this skunk scalp, this beaver scalp, and here's a warrior scalp.
You know that he got heat just kind of like before you ever opened his mouth, just him coming in the door looking the way that he looked and being green. I'm sure the guys.
Well, there was a lot
him.
of muscle guys, you know, Tony Atlas, Ivan Putski. There was, you know, but yeah, it was just his attitude more than the way he looked. He was not a personable man.
Next up, we've got Cliff Poth, who asked, would you have wanted to play for the Falcons your whole career, or which NFL team would you have liked to be part of?
If I had to do it all over again, I would have quit football when I got out of college and went right down to talk to Fritz von Erich instead of wasting those 2 years, 1 year with the Falcons on injured reserve and ended up chasing the dream up in the CFL with the Argonauts. I would have gotten right into professional wrestling. Try to name a football player from the 80s. Think of a wrestler: Hogan, Macho Warrior, Jake, Junkyard Dog, Hacksaw Duggan. It was a moment in time. That's my joke when I do the charity events. World champions. Where in the world do you guys go? Says, nobody knows Tom Brady down in Christchurch, New Zealand, but they'll go, ho!
Yep. Jim, what was your favorite football team growing up? Got to be the Jets, right?
I was a Green Bay Packer fan.
Really?
Yeah. Vince Lombardi, Bart Starr, Jerry Kramer. I was an offensive lineman. I liked Jerry Kramer. The Ice Bowl. Yeah, I grew up. And that's another story, quick one. But the guy named Ben Davison, who was an all-pro, played for Oakland Raiders, he would crush Bart Starr all the time. And I'd be growing up with my dad. I'd watch him. My dad would go, hey, he's a bad bastard. That Ben Davison. He hit him out. He was the most penalized guy in the NFL. 6'8", 300 plus. Anyway, so I do the variety telethon that I did for 20 years. I walk into variety telethon, black tie affair. I walk in. Who's standing there? Ben Davison. Called my pop. I said, Dad, you ain't going to believe it. That bad bastard's here. I went over. I got to know Ben. What a super gentleman. What a great guy. Another guy, different on the field than he was. Did a great. We did variety telethon until he passed away. It was a great guy. We're not getting many questions in, brother. I'm sorry. I'm rambling off on other things.
I love it. That's what's great about the show. That's a feedback I get all the time from our listeners. Like they just love that we just.
You're like, what the hell is he talking about now?
It's just a conversation. One of the things that one of our listeners brought up to me, and this is making me think, is that somebody. Yeah, really, it never happens.
I thought I smelled some burning.
And forgive me for not remembering your name, but somebody sent me a picture of like a stat sheet from when you were in college, and you played against Earl Campbell. Is that true?
Yeah, I played against Earl. Yeah, Roosevelt Leaks, Earl Campbell. Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, wow. SMU was strong back then. They're coming back a little bit, but. We beat A&M when they were number one in the nation. Texas A&M, they were number one in the nation. We beat them. We had a good club. And it's funny, our offensive linemen, the 5 offensive linemen, we still stay in touch. I probably won't be able to make a game this year. I've been going to homecoming most years. But out of the 5 of them, 3 of them are multi-millionaires.
Wow.
Huge, yeah. One guy ended up VP at Dr. Pepper. One guy's a big shot with Cadillac. The other guy's in oil. The other guy is a successful businessman, and myself. It's funny. Yeah. Well, I went to Joe. We went Joe Bays. He said, "You want to see my ranch?" And me and Deborah went to his ranch. We're like, "Oh, this is great." He goes, "Well, it goes a mile down this way, and then a mile down there." I'm like, a mile, Joe?
Jeez, this guy did all right.
That's a big ranch. But I tell you, nobody's happier than me and Deborah that we travel around, and I tell you, wealth doesn't buy happiness. And but we were all off this week, and holy smokes, I was sitting like this. We got to catch a flight. She's like, no flight. No, there's got to be a flight.
And you never get tired of all the travel?
No, it's kind of cool. Like people say, well, what'd you do this weekend? I said, I went to Idaho.
Everybody else is like, I don't know, I barbecued, I mowed my lawn.
Yeah. Because as long as you go nonstop out of Charlotte, it doesn't matter. If we have to connect, the few times we have connected, we've got bit in the ass, man. That 7.5 hour layover and stuff. But Charlotte, you can find most places nonstop. So you just get on the plane and you get off wherever you're at. Like we're flying nonstop to Boston. We're going up early on Thursday to spend time with my buddy Marty, and then the show's Friday. But yeah, it's nothing compared to the old days. I went 54 days straight without a day off, flying every day. Yeah, that was a grind.
Brutal.
I bring Deborah with me. Are you kidding? She handles everything. Where do I sit, honey? Okay. You see how the way we travel, brother. Deborah's like a road manager, agent, all rolled into one, man. She does a good job. Takes care of all the BS for me.
God bless Deborah, man. She's incredible, and
not to mention she keeps me alive. I mean, jams those pills down me. I mean, what are we having for breakfast? Oh man! Today, a 40 cal Smith & Wesson. Not one of my favorite guns, but this is my only 40 cal. So I got this just recently. Got a good deal on it. It's always like something to collect. Don't like to shoot. Not much fun though. Don't buy a 40 cal Smith & Wesson. They'll get hot.
No fun putting a big hole in something with that thing.
Well, like you got to shoot a tight group, brother. That's the whole thing. It's a tight group. And I still shoot pretty good for an old timer, man. I went to the range the other day. Yeah, I like to shoot. A lot of guys play golf. I can't play golf at all. That's why I like Papa Shango. He likes to shoot. So we got a big shooting date out in Vegas coming up during WrestleMania week. He says the range out there is one of those real pop-up ranges and stuff. I got a pretty mild range here in Lugoff. But Las Vegas is supposed to have, one of those really neat ranges. So,
Jim, we've been talking about filming or getting some film of you at the range, shooting your guns. I'm going to be in Vegas for WrestleMania. I would love to come along and film you.
Oh, yeah, we'll bring you on. Are you kidding, brother? Yeah. Shoot, you need young legs to run down and set up the target.
That's right. I'll be dodging bullets down there.
Yeah. We'll put one on your back. No, gun safety. Are you kidding? That's why all these things happen with guns. Puts all the illegal gun owners in a bad light.
Yes.
Chicago has the strictest gun laws in the country and has the worst gun crime.
And that's always the way it's going to work, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the AR shoots just like a Mini 14. It's a semi-automatic gun. It just looks very intimidating. But
I'm a gun owner, full support of it. And
what kind of gun you got, brother? I didn't know. What kind of gun you got?
I've got a Walther 9mm. Yeah, picked it up.
That's a nice gun. That's a good gun.
It is. It's kind of like it's close to the gun that like James Bond carried. So it's a cool gun, but really it's whenever my wife and I became homeowners, I told her, I was like, I think we need to own a gun because we have a house, and if somebody tries to break in, we have to be able to protect ourselves and our children. And
I never thought I would have to. And here I had the home invasion where I'm actually holding the gun, telling another man, if you move, I'll shoot you. And I've met him. I would have blasted him right there. I'm too old to fight anybody. And my whole heart was like Midnight Express. I don't know if you know the movie. The heart was boom, 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 boom. It was terrifying, but it was soothing to know I had an equalizer in my hand.
Absolutely. Makes my wife feel safe, makes me feel safe. And by the way, I bet I haven't pulled my gun out in 2 years, but I know exactly where it is if I need it.
Well, we'll do some shooting in Vegas, brother. Yeah, we'll come out. I think Papa's going to get all the ammo.
I love it. Oh, I'm in then.
We'll blast away.
Next up, we've got Chad Wendell, who asks, this is a good one. What's your Waffle House order?
My Waffle House. Usually it's breakfast. You know, and it's the forget what they call it. It's the 2 eggs, the 2 meats, and the waffle. So there's a name for it. I forget not the Grand Slam. That's Waffle
Denny's.
House, I think. Denny's maybe.
Yeah.
And then if it's not that, if it's in the evening or something, I get the chicken sandwich. Oh, delicious.
Love me some Waffle House.
Yeah, I tell you, wrestlers spent a lot of time in Waffle House, man. Back when WCW was going, there was a Waffle House right next to the Ramada. Used to call the Ramada the dungeon. You ask all the old WCW guys, we all stay at the dungeon. But the Ramada House, the Waffle House is right in the Ramada parking lot. Well, if that place could talk, we'd all be in jail. Thank God they didn't have cameras back then. Holy smokes.
Could you imagine some of the stuff that would be captured on people's phones? Oh,
got to be tough for those guys nowadays.
Yeah,
that's why they could be more professional, I guess.
That's why you stay in the hotel room and play video games. That's what's going on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Harris
Piper wouldn't make it. God bless him. Oh, Piper! Holy shit!
I've heard some interesting road stories about Piper in his prime too, man. You weren't really around him much though until later.
We didn't party too much together till later on. But I joke. I said we were in Australia, and I went out and I partied pretty hard. I was coming in about 3 a.m. The revolving doors at Fancy Dan Hotel. I'm all partied out 3 a.m. I'm going through the revolving door. Piper's going out. His party's just starting. Holy shit.
Oh my gosh. Where in the world is he going at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, oh my God. I mean, you'd be surprised.
I'm sure there's places.
Oh, well, not that I heard about them.
Well, of course. Harris F. Yeah, we got
after 40 years, he's like, tell me something new. I don't know.
Harris F is up next, and this is kind of an older question because, as I mentioned, you'll know why it's older whenever I read it because I roll these over from episode to episode. So this is one that somebody asked probably 2 months ago. What did you think of the Hulkster at the Republican National Convention?
I thought he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Yeah. No matter what your politics are, for a guy to get up like that in front of that kind of crowd and that kind of atmosphere and deliver that speech that he did. Yeah, I sent him a text, man. I told him I was proud to know him. He did a hell of a job up there. Regardless if he could have been up at the Democratic Party, if he gave a speech like that, that was amazing. I thought he represented wrestling well. I got some guy up there going, he went up there, boom, he delivered. He was a wrestler, brother. That's what I always tell him. You're going to be a wrestler. Be a wrestler. and Hogan was. I thought he did a hell of a job.
Excellent job. And yeah, to your point, regardless of your politics, like he went up there and he was a showman. Like he was the same guy we used to see on
that's
TV.
A tough crowd. I tell you, that's not a real wrestling crowd. I've been in front of people that aren't real wrestling and try to work your gimmick. And it's sometimes I did the video awards. I was out there, it's like a wasteland, crickets. Shit ain't working. But his stuff was working good. Yeah, he did a hell of a job.
Jake Gresham is up next.
Hi, Jake.
Yeah. He asks, have you worked with CM Punk at all? What's he like?
No, the little bit I came across CM Punk is when I was with WWE, when they brought me back and they hooked me up with Super Crazy and they hooked me up with Eugene. And he was already having trouble with him, but he was always congenial to me. We'd say hello to each other. I never was in the ring with him, never did business with him, so I don't know. He always sat first class, so anytime I'd be walking to the back of the plane, he'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'd be, "How you doing, brother?" I know he was getting first class right off the bat. I'll tell you that. But right. No, I had very little interaction with the guy. But you got to respect him to go in that MMA stuff. I mean, that was the guy's a hard-nosed guy.
I mean, he didn't do great in MMA, but it takes a hell of
No,
a
but he
man
went out
to
there.
step in
Yeah,
there.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did more than one, didn't he?
Yeah. He was
You
in
think
multiple
after that
fights.
first one, you leave like, that's enough of that shit. Let me get back in the wrestling ring. Holy Christ.
There's a
What
big
the
difference.
hell? I can see making that mistake once. Steve Williams did that. Dr. Death. He fought some 22-year-old Ukrainian musclehead over in Japan. It
Did he
didn't
kill him?
last 2 minutes, but he got a huge payoff. He's like, what the hell I got paid? I went
See, I
for a
would
leg
think
dive. I woke up in the dressing room.
Yeah, a whole different world out there, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
John Murphy is up next. Thoughts on Buddy Landel's in-ring work, and what did you think of him as a person?
I got along okay with Buddy. A lot of people didn't like Buddy. He was a pretty boy, so he already, like Sean. All those pretty boys, they carry a little heat anyway,
Mhm.
You almost feel bad with them. A guy like Buddy or Sean, they go into a bar. Every girl's like, "Oh, hi," and every guy's like, "Yeah, that's my girlfriend." Yeah, I never had that trouble. I mean, what the hell? But the pretty boys would they have that instant heat anyway because they would cause that kind of deal. But I worked with Buddy a little bit, nothing memorable. Other than that, and people like, well, his gimmick was close to Flair's. Well, shit, what the hell? Come up with something new.
Yeah, there's
My
nothing
gimmick
new.
was close to Brody's. Berserkers was close to me. I mean, it's like people say, well, don't use my move. Like, don't use your move.
Does that mean I can't body slam somebody?
Yeah, what the hell? I punch. That's the deal. People are like, Hacksaw, what's your favorite move? I said, I kick and punch. What are you talking about? I carry a 2x4. What's my favorite move? Talk to Brett about favorite moves. Ask me about brawling, brother. I don't care if I win the match, long as I win the fight. Oh! USA! USA! I'm not going to spill my coffee. Don't worry.
We gotta be careful after
Last week
time.
I got so excited I spilled the coffee. Iced coffee.
Under control this time. We got it.
Well, relatively. He's in here with me.
With a crown.
Yeah.
Gregory Himes is up next. Will you be watching the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary? Did you hear about this, Jim?
I heard about it. Yes, I had. Yeah, I don't think I'll sit and watch it. No.
You don't think?
No, I doubt if I'm in it.
Probably not.
Then, yeah, I don't, like a lot of people, they hate, and obviously the guy is not a good person. Everybody knows that. That's not like a news flash. But professionally, without Vince McMahon, wrestling would not be where it is today.
Right.
I mean, I was in the ring for almost 40 years. WCW, WWF, WWE, Mid-South, Southwest Championship, Georgia Championship. I do the Comic-Cons and appearances. All that people ask me about, or 90% of what people ask me about, is the WWF, the golden age of wrestling. Hogan, Macho, Jake the Snake, Andre the Giant. People just remember that era, and Vince McMahon created that era. So as bad as Vince was to us, yeah, he could have. The kids are making millions of dollars now. Throw us a bone. What the hell? But without that, I wouldn't. I'm 70, almost 71 years old. I travel the world signing autographs and taking pictures with people. That wouldn't have happened without Vince McMahon. But coming off that, now I got another quick story I got to tell you. Last week, phone rings. It's the WWE.
All right.
They called me. Yeah, last week, Tuesday or Wednesday. They're like, Hacksaw, it's the whatever anniversary of whatever show it is this Thursday night. Would you like to come down? And I'm like, well, yeah, what's the deal? I said, well, it's in Seattle. And Deborah, talk to this guy, will you?
I would have blown up
She
your
told him what
weekend
it would take. Yeah, she told him what it would take. It's a payday for drag my old ass all the way out to Seattle. It's a 2-day trip. So she gave him my fee and all that for that. They called the next day, like, "Oh, we're not going to do that segment."
Oh, well, all right.
But yeah, but it's nice to be in a position finally to set and go. Okay, yeah, I'll be right there. What do you want? Yeah. It was like, yeah, to go all the way to Seattle. That's, but and plus you'd be out there like, hi, gone.
Yep. And short
Yeah,
notice,
that
like calling
long,
you week of.
Yeah.
Calling you week
Pardon?
of and saying, hey, we need short notice.
Yeah, they're calling
you
the
week
week
of.
of to go to Seattle. Now it was here in Columbia. You know what? I drive down just to see Jen, the catering lady. I love her, man. We never go down to see her, but like I don't know any of the talent anymore. I told you I was on Jericho's cruise. One of the top guys came up to me, and I'm like, "Here's an autograph, young guy."
How did he react?
He goes, "I'm wrestling tonight." I'm like, "Oh,
ooh, sorry." I saw a great clip of you with a wrestler.
I thought a guy your size be bringing the robes back. It's be bringing the robes back. See, I could do that in an interview. That would work. Sometimes when Hacksaw gets excited, my lips don't work. I got to get him to work the right way. I couldn't screw up an interview. Yeah. Oh, not that ever happened. Holy shit. That's how you can tell the rookies in the NFL. They still have snot in the face mask. The old timers, they get it right through, you know.
I always loved your line whenever a wrestler would come up to you and they were a little bit shorter, and you'd say, like, hey, why don't you stand up when you're talking to me?
Stand up when you're talking to me. I use that line a lot. Yeah.
Great stuff. All right, we'll do one more and I'll let you go, Jim. We've got Peter D, who asks, hi, Hacksaw. And he follows that up with, have any Honky Tonk Man stories? Did you ever travel with him? Thanks.
Yeah, I did travel with Honky a little bit. I don't get along real well with Honky.
Really?
We did a show in Des Moines, Iowa. I got him him and Teddy, we did it was like a bacon fest in Des Moines, Iowa. It's a huge weekend event, a whole bacon fest. Everything bacon beer, bacon perfume, bacon. Anyway, so I got him the show, but I guess the people at the show, they wanted him to sign this contract or something. I don't know, whatever the deal was. But Honky got pissed off at me. I had nothing to do with it. But anyway, no great loss. But back in Southwest Championship Wrestling, Joe Blanchard's territory, where I became Hacksaw out there with Brody and stuff, we would drive out to West Texas, Amarillo, Lubbock, and all that. And I traveled with Honky a little bit then. And but Honky, I guess, since has been telling folks how he shaped my career and trying to take a lot of credit for, I don't know what, but I'm like, no, that didn't happen. But the one big show we did have was in Milwaukee, an outdoor show. It's a well-known show. It was at an outdoor stadium, and Jimmy Hart was in Honky's corner, and yeah, we had a good match. We tore down the show, So, but in general, yeah, Honky and I, which was funny. I just saw him on the Jericho cruise, and there was a bunch of guys sitting there. I could see the boys, and at the table, I came in the door and I was saying hello, and Honky was right there. He turned around. I'm like, "Oh, how you doing?" And he was shocked,
Why he thought?
Like, how you doing? No. More like this. I'm sorry. Yeah. You I get heat for that nowadays. Are you kidding? Holy shit!
You get heat for everything nowadays in today's climate.
Look at that! Look what I just found.
Oh, what do we have here?
A Japanese poster.
Look at that. How about that? Hang on. I got to zoom in on you for that, Jim.
Wow. It is Inoki.
Look at that. That is a great poster. Wow. How old is that?
That's a good-looking kid. Yeah, in Japan. 111.
Man.
I just happened to see that laying there. Very cool.
That is great. And
you don't know where we're going to end up on this show, right, brother? Holy shit!
Hey, that's what I.
People asking questions. They're like, "Hey, wait a minute! I sound like a politician. Ask me this, I'll tell you about something else."
Man, I love that it's just a conversation. There's no real structure. We do it on all of our shows, and it's great. And I think that's what the people love about it. And that is going to wrap us up for this episode of the Hacksaw Hour. There's more questions, and again, we will roll them over episode to episode. We might get to them. So
Let's do one, brother. Let's do one together.
All right, here we go.
Oh! Oh! Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time on the Hacksaw Hour.